Actually, it's the first time that I speak at this conference. I speak a lot, like every 2 or 3 days in conferences, school around the world. This is the first time at the DeepSec. And they're assigning me a hard task because you just had your lunch, so I should be able to not to fall asleep. Let's start, and then I will explain you also the cyber thing in the title. Yeah, it doesn't work. So I will have a mandatory disclaimer, small introductions, then we'll jump into the scenarios, so everything that we are going to speak about. I will give you a gift of research that we are carrying on since it's 3 years now on the powers when it's about the cyber thing, offensive and defensive for all the countries of the world. And then you can email me for all the details because, of course, it was hard to zip everything into slides. And then we'll go to the core, which are the issues and the problems that those guys have. Is there anyone from any Ministry of Defense here in the hall? I will not show you. I'm your trainer. I'm a good guy, but it's okay. It should be okay to know. Any? Okay, I'm sorry for that. Then we'll go to the conclusions. We should have time for the Q&A. We are starting 10 minutes late. Can I expect to end around 3 or 3:10? How is the deadline?
50. 10 to 3.
Okay, so you told me some time. Okay,
but,
all right.
We should finish a little earlier to get the next.
Yeah, sure.
I can give you early warnings.
Yes, please do it, because I love to speak a lot and jump around the stage. So this is mandatory disclaimer. This is going to be the slide I will spend the shorter time, but there is any way that everything that I'm going to tell you in the next 40 minutes do reflect the opinions of the NATO, of UNICRI, which is a small UN agency, and I will tell you about them. ENISA and the great, am ironic. Anyone from the European Commission, ENISA or so on. I spent between 2010 and 2015 at the PSG, is the Permanent Stakeholder Group, and I learned a couple of things. How all the politics may help and enhance the IT security, and how they are so good in destroying everything. I don't know if you ever heard about Article 13 A and B, is a EU law that force you, if you are a TLC or a mobile operator player and you are hacked, to inform your customers. It's very easy. It took us 3 years and a half to do it. 3 years and a half. So just a small example, etc., etc., etc. So I hope that you understand it and enjoy the presentation. Introductions. I love to start with a slide, not in order to boost and brag on myself. I don't care, I don't need. I started this job I started to fall in love for IT security, let's say hacking in 1986. And then I decided to jump to the professional side in 1995. So it's quite a long time. So I don't care about the companies at all. I think that if we are here, we take from the communities and we have to give back to the communities. So I will spend half a minute on this. Because since 2000, it was actually 1999 when I joined Peter Herzog at Isacom. Isacom at the time was still named the Idea Hamster, cool name, but a few guys able to understand it. I mean, the Italian board of OWA spent along among TSTF, Telecom Security Task Force, with Emmanuel Gadais and Philippe Langlois, so SS7, a mobile, and that kind of stuff. I'm a proud supporter of ICANN. I told you how I invested my times at ENISA, and so on and so on. One thing that are really cool is a PWG, because among all the roles I have and the job titles, they put me as a cultural attaché, which is actually so cool and sexy. So cool. Kudos to those guys. Oops, it doesn't work. All the time I will have to do this. So in a nutshell, this is like an abstract. I will try to analyze all the mistakes that I've seen when training MoDs, like all around the world, I would say, basically in Europe, in the Gulf area, and Australia, when it's about the cyber war, which is a word that I really hate. It doesn't mean mean anything at all, on my humble opinion, since it's not regulated at all, and I wonder if it could ever be. Instead of this cyber war, which sounds really so ugly, I prefer to speak about information warfare or information offensive operations, as the four speakers in the morning, they clearly explained us. I have also to excuse me for, okay, in English, I don't sleep since a couple of days, so if I don't sleep, I fall down even when I'm speaking in English. What this presentation is going to be about is about the culture, is about the real life and the field experience, is about some narrow minds issues that I've encountered on my own in the last years. Well, I know more for the different MoDs. Let's begin with the cyber thing. It's ironic, of course. 2 weeks ago, there is Philippe, and every time that the speaker incidentally was saying something like cybersecurity, cyber sex, whatever, penalty, and you have to drink the wine. I don't know if there is such a policy here. I don't see any alcohol, but it's early, so I prefer to cover my ass and multiply per 3 all the cyber thing. Let's begin with the scenarios. I love history, I love books, so I like to start with these 2 things from the past. Attaining 100 victories in 100 battles is not the pinnacle of excellence. The pinnacle is when you are able to control and to do whatever you want on the enemy side against your enemy. And that was from thousands and thousands of years ago. To be more recent, I love also the sentence from Napoleon Bonaparte that he said there are 2 powers in the world, is the sword and the mind, but in the long run, it's always the mind, or it should be that has got the victory on the sword. Why I told you this? Because it was history, but here it's recent. I don't know if you ever heard about Nikolai Kuryanovich. He says something that impressed me, and I will explain you the Asian in a couple of minutes. He said that in the very near time, many conflicts will not take place on the open field of battle, but in the spaces on the internet, fought with the aid of information soldiers, that is hackers. Wow, we are an army. This means that a small force of hackers is stronger than a multi-thousand force of the current armed forces. So why I enjoy this sentence? First of all, he was at the Duma, which is like a parliament in Russia. It's the parliament of Russia by similarity. Point number 2, I don't know if you get it, he said this in 2007, that was the year of the attacks to Estonia. So a guy, he knew something. Sometime earlier that everything happened and started and began. And then more and more happened. Intentionally, I decided just to pick up a 6 because whenever you speak to MoD, to Minister of Defense, they will say cyber war. Yes, Estonia is the first. It has been the first one ever. Wrong. I will show you in a couple of slides. That was something that changed all the perspective, everything, and we know it, even too much. Much more stuff happened between 2099 and 2010, and I decided to stop over there. Operation Payback definitely isn't about any kind of information warfare or whatever. Why I'm telling you this? Because as the 2 speakers, they said in this morning, it happened at the Athens affair. And I was, I think, along with a few guys, and 2 are in Vienna at the conference, to start to investigate, but at the time, the only good source was actually happily, and I keep the stuff. I don't spend time on this. I spend at 10 p.m. This morning. All the story that happened, and I'll go back to this. Then, thanks to Edward, I realized PRISM and the budgets of the NSA for the black operations. And I learned something. I learned that until 2011, we are speaking about 231 black ops. That to me may mean a TLC, a mobile player, or anything else. But it went to public that their job, or let's say the mission, is hacking into foreign boxes in order to spy on contents and control the functionalities. And why actually I'm speaking to you about this? Because, as you said this morning, I don't want to see anymore the people and the techies from the security community to commit a suicide or to being suicided because of other stuff that are kind of unrelated to IT security and InfoSec. But then it happened in 2013. So a member of the EU hacked into a member of EU, and as they said in the plenary, I don't really think that the customer of Elgacom are the terrorists. Is the European Commission, is Brussels, is ENISA. Well, I may have some idiots over there, but I don't think any terrorist at all. All right. But here we start. All of the times that I start to explain information warfare and the generals and the 5 stars, they answer with Estonia. And I answered them back, can I gift you a book? Or can you go online? And you will learn that in 1988, over X25, Hagbard and Pango from the CCC in Germany, they were paid by the KGB in order to hack over there. All the other are military targets, all of them. So everything that the guys that I don't know is that it already happened a long time ago. It already happened that intelligence agencies hired hackers in order to break into a target. It's in the history. It's into a book I will show you on the next slide. And they hacked all of this. So the point number 2 is that already in the 80s, it was a global thing because they hacked also in Japan and Germany at that time already. If you want to know more, you don't have idea what I'm hacking about, spend $3 on Amazon or on a or whatever, and have the book. Is a funny story because the author, he was the guy that, in my humble opinion, he ran one of the first ever forensics in the world by hand and wires. He's an astronomy researcher, and he followed into InfoSec because of everything is explained in the book. No matter if you was making about information warfare, but to the MoD, the key is the intelligence, is the data. So those how to say, elements of intelligence is the info and the data, is the subjects or the actors, so who are the agents and the orgs and so on, and to correlate, analyze, and report. That's their job. The actions of intelligence are to protect, are to obtain, are to improve, are to influence, are to disturb, and to destroy. So a guy, a general 65 years old from Eastern EU, he jumped up and said, if we do it remotely, then it's cyber intelligence. No, you don't get a shit. That's another thing. I will explain you, sir. So, what is happening for real? Who is doing what? The good thing or the bad thing is that the cyber warfare or information warfare, they have a spectrum of actions that is really so wide and huge. And they use attack techniques and so on. So at all of us, more or less, we do know. What is changing is that depending on the actors who plays this game, and they attack each others. The actors and the goals and the approach and the intensity, it changes a lot among all of them. And they attack on everything, on CIs, on Gov, on MIL, etc., and so on and so on and so on. And we have the countries. IC stands for intelligence community, law enforcement agencies, MoDs, etc., etc., etc. Am I right? Yep. So, in the real life, who is doing what? They always ask me if the actual scenario or scenarios can be a real threat to the security, to the information security of a country. They see, because they see and they read all the news, and fortunately, the growth of ICT attacks, they understood and they realized that there are new actors are entering in the club. So we have activism on one side, company to company, outsourcing for attacks, organized crime. And if you would like to ask me what has got to do the cybercrime with information warfare, this is the very first mistake. A few people, they understood that everything starts from the cybercrime and then goes to other and their owners, but I will show you in slides a big picture. Then all the background of those actors are changed so much. So from old school hacking, like Akbar and got the CCC, but either way. Also, Akbar was found suicided, hanged on a tree, and burned all around. So if you actually suicide, you don't have the time also to burn on yourself. I think so. A good thing for the MoDs and the generals is that this cyber thing is a booster in order to raise up all the budgets that they ask to their governments and countries. There are, we ran a survey like 2 years ago. There are in the world officially more than 180 private entities that they sell or they claim they do sell services for these environments. So this means new players, and it means that small countries or emerging countries, which they were out of the club, they now can enter in the club because the entry fee is really low. As far as I know, 3 days ago, it has been sold a remote iOS 9.1 for 1,000,000.6 or 0.8. It's $1 million, it's more, but for a day to hack into any iPhone, it's priceless. I mean, it's really cheap for a country or an intelligence or MoD. It may be expensive for a law enforcement agency because they do have other kind of rules and restrictions to act. Why do we encounter so many cyber attacks? Because they run them in order to spy, and the approach can be intelligence or military one. They have to manipulate all the info in the data. The most important until today is to support real life operations, and of course this cyber warfare and the cyber weapons thing, and I'll go back also to this point. This is just us to laugh and refresh and smile because of the lunch. But I really think, let's say that I don't think that in the next few years, the MoDs will be more us and the geeks to be at the, how to say, on the desk and to do actions and ops and ops. This is from Uniqri. It's just I did to resume in one chart a research that started back in 2004, and now it's on step is on phase 2.0. But what is important for you to know actually is that we wrote this chart back in 2004. So before the supposed attacks from China or who else, in 2004 we already knew at the UN that this entity and that entities, they were hiring or paying us in order to do other stuff and trying actually to zip and be quick. We did actually some mistakes that I think I'll explain. I don't explain, so I will tell you by voice. On HPP 2.0, which started, is ongoing now. We want to zoom more on the script kiddie profile, on the number 3, on 4, on 5, and so on, because I'm tired to see and analyze elite and explained attacks, and we are not able to match to an attacker. I don't give at the why. It's testing tough to analyze more in India, China, in North Korea, and South Korea, and many more countries what is happening. And why actually we mistaken? Because when we started, we did not have no animals and loopholes like in 2004. We didn't have everything that happened basically between 2007, I would say, and today. What we want to do is to zoom more. How is it possible that the malware, the rootkit for Ericsson Axe is not public at all. I know that it has been written in Lua, LUA, but it's not a code that you do on your own. You have to get to hire, to corrupt, to whatever, again, some cool experience at the Ericsson engineers in order to do that kind of stuff. We want to understand the structures and infrastructures and the links where they go in the mills. We want to understand and all of the money in order to be able to correlate with everything and all of the scenarios. Part number 2, I entered in the research back in December of 2004. It's from there. And I said, wow, it's really cool. It's a good idea. It's a good point to start from. But they analyze only, say, X countries. So they try to understand if there it exists an official doctrine on the cyber warfare, if they do the trainings on the cyber warfare, if they do exercise, if they cooperate with the IT industry or academy, and so on and so on. It was good, but from 2004. So since 2012, we restarted hold on. In 2010, me and Jar Tarming, during a training at the NATO, they asked us, hey, we need to know, we need to match the sexy things and to a country. So we tried a first experiment, and we say, those guys, they are really good on cybercrime tools. They are the best. And Ukraine as well. US is intelligence on comms. They do it at the best. France, they have a know-how, they have a strategy that they will do whatever in order to defend the know-how of the country. Think about Peugeot and the cars and so on. Israel, they've been able to industrialize tools, attack and defense tools. I'm from Tel Aviv, and they tell me it's incredible all the time that you are in the street every 2 blocks or 1 block. You are full of companies on cybersecurity, and you go at the pubs and you hear all days. Wow. UK, they've been the first one with a public call by the GCHQ. It was around 2009 or 10 to try to hire hackers for the GCHQ, MI5 and MI6. In China, it looks like they are so good at industrial espionage. It looks like because it's really easy to port scanning China and launchpad, of course, but I will speak also about attribution. India is the country of the cyber attacks and counter. What I mean is that they created an authority that is kind of a ministry that is named NTRO, I have to run. And they created a law, a bill for India. And in the bill they say, they repeat the word hacking, counter hacking 10 times in a bill. And the bill say, if your country attack me, NTRO is authorized to counterattack on you. The first one, even before the US. Pakistan, they have this cyber army, so I think I put in some slides something to have fun, maybe it was in the index. I know I will be late, I will have to cut. I think I put it here. If I don't, I'm just going back for nothing at all. Yes, this is from a book in India. It has been cited by a judge 3 years ago. I have it, hard copy. And when I was hiking with NTRO, they told me that all the defects in a day, they may happen between 200 and 300 between India and Pakistan, and most of the attacks are launched by kids and teenagers. So it's their new game is to attack each other's. Let's run back to us and go into the meat, guys. Huh? Oh, here we are. So giving up, Ukraine looks to be the country of the botnets at that time in 2010. And then, I don't know if you know it, but we suspect, me and Jart Armin, that there are 4 companies in the world to whom, if you are a government, an intelligence agency, you outsource to them the creation of a malware. Ever heard about this? You should, yes, you do. But that wasn't enough. So along with my guys, we started to analyze every country, and we say if they have the strategy or the doctrine, if they train, if they do exercise, if they so and so, but for offensive capabilities. So here's a result. If you want to learn more, there is an upcoming book handbook by the NATO. The publisher should be AGI, and I will publish a handbook in a few weeks all over the world, and there is the full research over there. So when it's offensive at that time, because we started in 2012, it was only a few countries at that time and officially. But if you speak about the long run on the defense side, is huger. So Austria is there also, and more, of course, until UK. So let's go to the meat. I think I have 12 minutes or so. This is the core of my talk. I could have also asked for focusing on this one. Issue number one is that they are old. Those guys are old. if I have to play statistics, the 70% of the guys who has got the power to decide on the budget I speak with, they are between 50 and 65 years old. If you go to Eastern Europe or so, they don't speak English at all. They may speak Russian, or it depends on the area of the world. The young guys, they know their stuff, but they don't have the power to decide, and they just say, yes, sir, I will execute. There are issues on the words. So, in Italy and Spain and Romania is not information security, is cybernetics, which is something else, in my opinion. There is a lack of laws or whatever, so the UN should do something, and they are not at all. EU, they don't, and I will show you one slide or two what happened on December 2012 in Dubai between ITU and ICANN, if you don't know it. Point number 4, you can't brainwash them, so their answer will always be, I rely on vendor A, B, C, D. I saw a nice big picture here. So they don't understand that the vendor is there just to steal your money most of the times. They don't understand that every vendor may introduce vulnerabilities and bugs, but most of all, they are scared and they don't trust any open source thing. Or they think so, and it depends on what the boss they think and what the guys that they do in real life. But the key point is that they don't understand InfoSec at all. It's really hard to teach them and explain to them and to train them. Officially, they will always say, and they will also always ask to be proactive and preventive and to defend. But in their heart, they are soldiers. They want to attack. But a few countries allow them to attack. Italy, they don't, as an example. So it's like, I would like to get that one, but I can't. It's like, they really, I can see in their own eyes that they dream about to play offensive ops like US, UK, and so on, but they officially, they can't. I've tried to train them on books like the history of the mod and the law, the MoD and the LOD, every kind of books. They have a lack of know-how on how we think, our history and mod and culture and so on. It's very rare to see staff from the MoD at security events or conference. They go to the say official ones, but they don't go to the underground and the RT. I say once. It depends again. I remember it's like 5 years that I in the box in Malaysia and KL. I was seeing the Minister of Defense from Sweden and the other 2 countries in the EU, but it's an exception. Once again, they are not flexible at all. It's MoD, so they can't, but it's a mindset. So for them it's very easy to authorize a budget of millions for a tank, a jet, RPG, but have you ever tried to speak about all days with them? Then I would say, it's too expensive. But it is like Hollywood, I click and boom, exploit. No, this is an all day, then you have to build, to weaponize, and they just don't understand it. So once again, they're really tough. No odds of flex. But if you will be able to get intimate with them, they are like me and you. It's all about human beings. But they have stricter rules and procedures, so again is the mindset and the culture. I had to force them, to push them, to provocate in order to think out of the box, because to them is black or white, is there or there, and not up and down, as it is for us. But the hardest thing is to explain them that they can't do it on their own. They need non-military people. They should be trained. If my country would ask me for a training on IPv6, is mark stop. I don't have any other trainers to advise to them, and the answer would be, but it's from Germany, isn't Italian. Yes, I know, but it's the top, and you need the top at the end. So at the end, each country, they want only experts from their country. But when you are in, I don't know, in Congo, isn't so easy to find experts over there. This is what I'm showing you. Actually, this is the map of the cyber defense, how it was evolving back in 2013. So you see who is more up to date and who is not at that time. And then I work over there. But if you close your eyes and you think about all the world in the geopolitical view, as we know, and we are used actually to see it and imagine it, and then you compare with this, you will see that everything is changing. This is a map of all those countries that in December 2012, when ITU and DICAN, they have a huge fight for the governance of the internet. Who accepted and signed it, who didn't, and who say who say yes, who say no, and who said I don't sign. So if we analyze the map, is different from what is. There are some small differences compared to what we are so used to see all around us. So I think that whenever they say the MoD, they say cyber war, or the community and the media, especially the press, it should be go under the umbrella of espionage. It's about, as for now, but at a few exceptions, is espionage. But we always have a but. There is a growing interest in defining and trying to address is from the CCDCOE, is the cybercom and so on. So this is a good thing, isn't bad at all. On the other hand, there are so many assets and techniques that they are coming from this, the crime aspects of IT security or insecurity, and that they use or reuse or acquire or buy or whatever from all the bad guys or gray guys, let me say. I will have to speed it up, because I would like actually to focus on 30 slides. Attribution. They are right. Whenever my customers, they ask me, okay, here you have all the logs. The attack was from China, so I say, no, that was an IP address. So attribution is a challenge. And if you are the error, it may be kind of irrelevant. But if you are at ops, it helps. If you are the strategy, it's important. If you're making history is critical. Is the top critical thing. And I was laughing when I saw from the aspect strategy group, attribution is not really an issue. Wow, cool guys. You have the good idea of everything. As an example, these are three options, A, B, C. A is attacking B. Let's say that that's about Ukraine. Yeah, okay, sir. So if it's A or B or C, it goes to change all the reactions, everything that will happen in country A, B, and maybe in country C. So I'll skip. I just want as is my last one, because I mean, wanted you that everything starts from on the cybercrime. So MoD, they think that it has cyber attack is hit enter. No, enter is over there, is a 5%, but I have to do other stuff before. And whenever it's about banking attachments, buying all days, blah, 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 is the stuff that is coming from the cybercrime, 100%. So I'm kind of scared by all those gray links between two entities that they actually should that really talk each other. I cut and jump. This was actually a fun one, but you will get at all of my slides. And the last thing that I would like you to study back home is my view on how a cyber warfare unit should be should be structural, let's say. I am here actually so that we have a couple of minutes for the Q&A, all the biography, and my email and the public. Thank you so much. And I'm so sorry for all the excess of material, but I will hand you the whole pack. Thank you. At this point, you should have to ask something, because I skip on the slides, so please ask me something.
Good, super. I guess we have time for one question, and then we have to stop. So,
yes, sir.
Is there any question?
Yep.
There's one more risk I see. Traditional weapons are stuff, material, but all these cyber capabilities are brains, and it's much more difficult to control them, because they can go to a different country, they can sell
They can
their...
proliferate, they can create a false flag, they can create whatever mess.
Crime could buy, for example, people at the NSA. I bet on Snowden we will have thousands which have made, let's say, more profitable use of their position.
You are 100% right. If you encounter it in the likes of Hacking Team, and you will see that there are like 3 years of talks with an Italian guy based in UK, that he was reselling the fake certificates to Hacking Team for like £10,000 each. So you are a criminal, and you fake IDs in order to fake SSL to be acted into a tool that is for the law enforcement. It's out of sense. I mean, it's dangerous. To me, it's like if you give a gun to a kid. No, you have to grow up to start to write the software, and then grow and grow and grow, and then eventually you will have a gun.
I guess we have to take further discussions offline.
Okay.
We have a coffee break after the next talk, so there is a chance to continue.
Okay.
Thank you. We have the next talk.